February 25th, 1988, the late great Whitney Houston released the fourth single from her second album entitled Where Do Broken Hearts Go? Despite the massive success of the song, the songwriter suggested that Houston remain perplexed by the song and its lyrics. In fact, Houston sent him a letter asking, "Where do broken hearts go? I have no idea." Because the track was a well-sung, chart-topping masterpiece, listeners, critics, and even the songwriter alike did not seem to care where broken hearts went. But what happens when the heart that's broken belongs to you? In today's episode of the Arise podcast, we're going to examine the rhetorical question, where do broken hearts go? So come on in and gather yourselves. It will be an interesting ride.
The marriage rate has actually dropped. According to Pew Research, back in 1960, 72% of Americans were married. Today, only about 50% are married.
According to the U.S. Census Bureau, 46% of African American women have never married and may not ever be married.
Welcome to Arise with Tiffany Taylor, a podcast where we examine the cultural stigmas associated with singleness in light of biblical standards. It's a space where you can embrace your right now life by discovering and living in God's designed purpose and will. Arise. There is still life in you. What's up? Thank you for listening to the Arise podcast. I'm your host, Tiffany Taylor, and I've just got to ask, is anyone just as shocked as I am that after all these years, no one ever answered our good girl, Whitney Houston's question, where do broken hearts go? I think it's a really great question and very introspective, yet one that we may sometimes avoid answering because of the memories, the hurt, and the pain associated with heartbreak. Anyone who has ever had their heart broken knows that heartbreak is real. There are often more questions than there are answers, and while many people still have a folio from their extended stays at the Heartbreak Hotel, I know that I do. When you're going through it, culturally, you may discover quickly there is no standardized blueprint of how to mend the broken pieces, and therefore, no cookie-cutter answer to Whitney's question. So as someone who has survived heartbreak a number of times, I'm too ashamed to divulge the number, I'm here and the Arise Tribe is here to provide some context from a cultural and biblical perspective because even difficult roads lead to beautiful destinations.
What we're going to do right here is go back, way back into time.
Back to the mid-90s when we were rocking the Tommy Hilfiger polos and the Nike Air Maxes. I was in the 10th grade at Hillcrest High School. Shout out to everyone who came through Patriot Parkway in T-Town. Whoop, whoop. I was in my first serious relationship with a great young fella, and I define serious as in we met each other's parents and siblings, and there was a courtship, there was dating, there were visits outside of school. And I'm putting that out there because back then there were a lot of note passing and falling asleep on the phone. Like today, there's a lot of texting and FaceTiming, but no courtship. But that's for another episode. As the relationship progressed, in time, the relationship itself began to digress in the area of our feelings towards each other. Now, looking back, I think we knew when we were at the end, but I didn't want to be the one to call it quits. So one day he called me and he called it quits. Your girl got dumped. And that was the first and the last time for the record. Real jokes, but real talk. So when we come back from the break, I'll dish on the one time your girl got dumped as we sit with today's rhetorical, but maybe not so rhetorical question, where do broken hearts go? Keep it locked. Let's continue the discussion. Post your thoughts of today's episode on Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, or Twitter using hashtag AriseTribe or email thearisetour@gmail.com. Again, that's thearisetour@gmail.com. We want to know your thoughts and maybe even share them in an upcoming episode. So let us know what you're thinking because we're listening. Podcast with Tiffany Taylor. Keep it locked. Welcome back to the Arise Podcast with Tiffany Taylor. See, I know what y'all over there saying, because I can hear it in my heart. But for those of you in the back of the class, let me refresh this lesson. I was in a dwindling relationship, but I didn't want to be the heartbreaker and tell my guy that it was over between us. So eventually, he called me up and he called it quits.
I wouldn't know a thing. Sorry to this man.
For us to be so young, the conversation was super amicable and respectful. When the call ended, there was this sense of relief and freedom. He did the one thing that I was afraid to do, and I felt like celebrating. The turn up was turning up. The next day I saw him at school, and he looked even more liberated than me. Soon after, I began to get word. He'd set his sights on an upperclassman. As word began to spread that he and I had broken up, I suddenly began to experience a feeling I'd never felt before. I was sick. I couldn't eat my mom and dad's good cooking, and I didn't desire to. My heart was broken, but I couldn't tell my friends. Nah, I was too cool for that. Nah, I couldn't tell him because I was too prideful for that. So I masked the pain. Day in and day out, I continued my daily activities while masking pain. Depression. Because my heart was so broken, I made some irrational decisions. I started talking to other guys just to numb the pain, to appear to my peers and to my ex that I'd successfully moved on. But I was emotionally living a lie. Long story short, one of those random relationships captured the attention of my ex. And for those wondering, we made an attempt to reconcile, but it didn't last long. Too much had transpired, or shall I say expired, between us. And it was never quite the same. But those feelings didn't easily go away. I prayed. I journaled. I worked so hard to move forward, asking God to just heal my heart. I had no closure. It was left on me to get my own closure. And as I matured, I came to understand that heartbreak is like that for most. And perhaps it's this way by design. Thankfully, I was younger. And thankfully, I had my faith and supportive friends and family. But what happens if you don't? What do you do? Where do you turn? In society, we're conditioned to seek proper medical care when we fracture or break a bone. But where do we go when the heart is broken? Some broken hearts go shopping. Some go binge eating. Some open up multiple accounts on dating apps. Some run to the club, the mixer, the party. I'm not judging any of those who have engaged in behavior or activities to numb the reality of a broken heart. But there must be a place the brokenhearted can go, steps that we can take to get the healing we need. So let's look at the process of healing a broken leg with that of healing a broken heart. When a bone is broken, it's done so either by force, by stress, or by existing wear and tear. The same is with the heart. Heartbreak may be the result of an incident, breakup, divorce, or betrayal. When you break a bone, there is severe pain, there's swelling, there's bruising, and there's even an appearance of deformity to that bone. You also lose the ability to use the leg. And the same is with the heart. When there's heartbreak, whereas only God can see the deformity and the bruising, you still lose the ability to use your heart, meaning to love wholeheartedly. The process of healing a broken leg includes restricting your movement until you're advised when you can put weight on it. And you also have a physician who will properly align the bone, meaning they'll set it with a splint or a cast. So there's some extra medical attention that needs to take place with the broken bone. You also give yourself at least 6 to 8 weeks for that leg to heal with the assistance of crutches or a wheelchair. In like manner, I would only imagine that the process of healing a broken heart may include some similar aspects to it. For instance, you might need to restrict yourself from entering into a relationship or situationship with someone until God advises when is the right time for your heart to handle the emotional weight of another person. With a broken heart, you may also need to give the heart 6 to 8 months or 6 to 8 years or however long it takes for you to do the work, the therapy, the TLC to be completely healed. Now, some of you might be saying 6 to 8 years? Yes, Depending on the type or types of heartbreak, your time of healing may vary. Depending on your commitment to the process with God, your time may still vary. When you delay your process, you delay your healing. What some don't realize too is that depending on your heartbreak, you can attract distractions to your process. There are different types of fractures people can experience when they break a bone, and I believe this is true for the heart as well. So when we come back from the break, I'll dish some more on the effects of heartbreak as we sit with today's rhetorical, but maybe not so rhetorical question: where do broken hearts go? Keep it locked.
It's me, your cell phone. We need to talk about something serious. I know you love me. I know you like using me wherever you are, but I feel like this isn't working out when you're driving. I know you may think that it's possible to focus both on me and the road, but I just don't feel the same way. I think we should spend time away from each other when you're driving. It's for the best.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to the Arise Podcast with Tiffany Taylor. Arise Tribe, we asked y'all if you've experienced heartbreak in a relationship, what steps did you take to properly heal, or what steps do you wish you'd taken? Trey writes, I deleted all memories of that person. All right, Trey. I don't know if that was a step in the right direction of properly healing, but okay. No judgment. Alyssa writes, I had a real sit down with myself and God. I made myself see how I contributed to the heartbreak. This was done through prayer, journaling, crying, and yelling, but it was all worth it. Kudos to you, Alyssa, for doing the work. That is what's up. Joseph writes, I went to counseling, prayer, and leaned in on my support system. I also removed her and her family from my social media and blocked her from my social media accounts and anything else with her toxic self. Y'all, I just gotta let that one just sit right there where it is. I'm gonna let it sit right there. Inez writes, just tried to move on. So she just put one foot in front of the other just to move forward. Been there, shared my story, got the t-shirt. Erica writes, deleted memories, cleaned out the house, stayed active, worked out, took day trips, spent time with friends, video chatted with family on certain days. I took different craft classes, etc., etc. In response to if you've experienced heartbreak in a relationship, what steps did you take to properly heal, or what steps do you wish you'd taken? Lisa writes, I almost self-destructed trying to rid myself of a broken heart. I was selfish and started polluting other people by pulling them into my toxicity. But God, He came in and removed all the pain, emotions, feelings associated with memories, desires that did not line up with Him. Alcohol, He took it all. I woke up 3 days later a new person. I cut everyone from my past off, not in a bad way either. I am able to communicate with them without any past feelings or bad feelings. There's no way I want to return feelings either. God has showered me with His love. Now I know what true love really is. Wow, that is super powerful, Lisa. Thank you so much for sharing. Shonda writes, of course, I prayed first and next I forgave him. Then I took 5 years to learn to love myself and to be happy being alone. Consciously made a decision that I'll still love like I've never been hurt before. Wow, y'all, I love that so much. Hashtag Arise Tribe. Y'all are out here really being honest and transparent about your process. Naya writes, counseling. Simply put, Marie writes, introspection, acknowledgement of romanticized expectations, therapeutic conversation with friends, intentional self-care, and intentional personal spiritual growth. I love it. She just listed that and summarized that in such a clear and concise way. So shout out to Naya and shout out to Marie for doing the work. Again, in response to if you've ever experienced heartbreak in a relationship, what steps did you take to properly heal, or what steps do you wish you taken? Evie writes, still trying to heal, only 2 weeks in. Our prayers and our thoughts are with you, Evie. We know with God that you can overcome this situation, so we pray that you'll keep the faith. Toya writes, I let the hurt, and I cried when I felt like it. I would tell myself out loud that I deserve better and say all the reason why the relationship couldn't work. I prayed. I unmarried him in my mind. We were never physically married, but in my mind, we were. Wow. She adds, I broke heart and spiritual soul ties. I monitored my healing progress. I forgave him, and I repeated this process as often as I needed to. Wow, that is amazing. Sometimes we don't realize that because it's been a while since the heartbreak or the breakup, that we still may have to go back and repeat certain processes so that we can properly heal. If that's what you have to do, it's cool. Don't be ashamed. Don't be afraid. Go back and do that. So thank you so much, Toya, for reminding us of that. Danielle writes, go through it fully. Cry, mourn. This too shall pass. Thanks, Danielle, for sharing that. Keisha writes, therapy. That's what she did. That's what's up, Keisha. Kudos to you for doing therapy. Delissa writes, yield to God, prayer, therapy, finding value in myself. That's what's up, y'all. Thank y'all so much for being transparent in the Arise Tribe and sharing with us if you've ever experienced heartbreak in a relationship, what steps that you actually took to properly heal. That is major. If this episode were a t-shirt, it would read, Go to God. Simply because the answer to the question of where do broken hearts go, we would inspire you and encourage you to go to God. Psalm 34:18, the Message version says, if your heart is broken, you'll find God right there. If you're kicked in the gut, he'll help you catch your breath. God is near to the brokenhearted, which means you're never alone. He's with you. And not only that, he won't just be with you and surround you and hold you up while you're carrying those fragmented pieces of your heart. But he'll also take those pieces and he will heal them. And he will give you the strength you need to carry on, to fight another day, to evolve, to walk into the newness of life, and to even understand and receive in your mind that he has so much better for you than this. One of the biggest things that holds us back from our deliverance and our healing is that we mentally don't believe that there is better than this. I'm here to tell you, God has better for the brokenhearted. If he didn't, your time would be up. The fact that you're still here, breathing, is all the reason to know that there is better on the other side of this. So the goal is to get better, not to get bitter. The only way to become better and not bitter is to go to God. Because when you give your bitterness, your hurt, and your pain to God, he's able to transform it. You heard it from me. You've heard it from the Arise Tribe who have testified. We overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. And we believe that all that we've shared today in this episode will help someone to evolve and come out of their situation and know that there is better on the other side of this. Thank you so much for taking time to tune in to the Arise podcast. I pray that there was something said that has blessed your heart. And until next time, arise. There is still life in you. Thanks for listening to the Arise podcast. Join the conversation today using hashtag AriseTribe. Download and subscribe for free